Yeah, after a really trying week and prep from our game on Tuesday, it just really was special to be in the USA. And for all of the Red Raiders, I mean, you just felt like there was a genuine belief and energy that people wanted to support us, and that was awesome. Students were amazing. Really thankful. And obviously played an inspired K-State team who I think has some of the best guard play in our league and very difficult to defend. But just the way our team came together, played for each other, man, it just says a lot about this group and how much they love each other and how competitive we were in just being there for each other in a tough game, in a tough situation. So thrilled with the outcome, obviously, but credit to K-State for competing the way they did and continue to play hard.
Starters accounted for 88 points. There was 8 blocks. Spacing was really good today. Can you just talk about the complementary basketball in today's game?
Yeah, no, like I told you, I mean, we've got great players. We really do. And shooting's always a big part of it. And I'll tell you, I don't know how to explain this to people, but these guys haven't practiced that much together. And in January 28th, we finally got all those guys together. I mean, Josiah Mosley just started practicing. Luke just started practicing. And what you're seeing is those two guys making, I think, if you're going specific, those two guys making an impact on our team. And then Mario, you can put in that group too, because he played, then got injured, then played, and now he wasn't practicing much, but he's practiced more and had one of his best practices. So, you know, I think the numbers are somewhat similar in regards to Lawan, Donovan, Christian, and Jalen. And Tyree, for that matter, but what you've added is a guy, Josiah, who hasn't played, and Luke, who hasn't played. And then now you're seeing what Mario's capable of doing when he's at least been able to practice. So, man, what a fun game to be a part of, just because it's going to take everybody, and we're going to need everybody to be great.
Can you go into the sequence? Kansas State brought it back to 10 points, I think, with 9 minutes left. You guys go on a 12-0 run, and then that was pretty much it. Can you go into that sequence?
Well, I mean, we're sharing the basketball, and it's like, how cumulatively can we put these possessions together? And we played well in transition. I mean, the first 8 seconds was with more pace, but you got to get stops in order to do that. And I thought a big key to that is just Donovan Atwell's ability to guard the ball. I mean, he was special. And to guard Haggerty and to do it without fouling is kind of an X factor, but it's fun to see that defense has led to some offensive possessions, and that hasn't been really what we've done recently, but with this group we've needed to.
Coach, how do you feel like your team performed on the boards, making impacts on getting those second chances?
Well, I think we gave up one offensive rebound at the half, and I think we were deep into the second half, and we just given up a couple. They got them down the stretch, which says that we were probably fatigued and they were desperate to get back in the game, so they were offensive rebounding. But, I mean, for the most part, our physicality and our effort, I thought Luke high-pointed a couple of basketballs. I thought Mario high-pointed a couple of basketballs. It was good to see those guys' involvement in the possession. But really what I was impressed with those block shots that we got and got 50-50s on. Those are the ones that I think will end up being difference makers for this team, because we haven't had a lot of block shots, and Luke, being a big part of that, put some in play, and we were able to get them and get transition out of them. So those 50-50s I thought were really important.
How do you feel this team is now on a not only physical but emotional basis as they come to these final couple games of the season?
Yeah, being in that locker room, there's always been confidence, but I'd be lying if I said that probably our guys were wondering what this was really going to be like. And I wouldn't say there were doubts. I would just say that there was some uncertainty in regards to, how much am I going to have to do? And I think I did see a few possessions where we did some things uncharacteristically that will not help our team. Like a little bit of an individual performance trying to say I can, and I just told them, man, it's going to take everybody. Everybody's going to need to be great on a different day. And what will separate us is if we can recognize who didn't have a great one and we can all rally around them. Because there's enough people crushing us from whatever angle. It don't matter. how can we be there for each other and keep encouraging each other? Because I thought Leon Horner had one of his best games against Arizona. Well, he didn't have many opportunities tonight, but he's an unbelievable teammate. We're going to need Leon Horner. So just those things, I think, are what our team is leaning into and seeing how valuable everybody is and how much we need each other in order to be successful. And tonight was on full display.
Could you just talk about how remarkable it is that, I mean, this team had not played meaningful minutes without JT Toppin basically all season long, and suddenly you're complete without him. And you get a result, and you say you probably couldn't have been much better even if JT had played. I mean, that just strikes me as pretty crazy that it works out that quickly, that well.
Well, college basketball and guard play is important, and Christian Anderson and Donovan Atwell and Jalen Petty have been awesome. And Christian Anderson today and Donovan in the first half and Christian in the second half, you want to talk about, I mean, you can see their confidence growing together and the space that those guys create and the leverage. And I'll tell you a unique part of the offense that was, I thought, utilizes the lob threat. I mean, that when you can get behind the defense like that, I mean, JT's always been a short roll and post guy, and this actually opens the floor up a little bit more with the lob threat because that long roll makes that tag be even farther. And if people are going to put 2 on Donovan, 2 on Jalen, and 2 on Christian, I mean, you're going to have to account for that other one. And Lawan making those corner threes, I think, and one of them was a 2. But, I mean, I think that's a separator, too. I thought he played fantastic. I thought he was on balance and physical and played the right way. And I'm going to really challenge him to keep being tough and physical on the offensive end and to lose the looseness associated with the way he plays. And the more he becomes, physically dominant on the offensive end, not skill dominant, but physically dominant, will really take a big step. And to your point, man, it is fun. It's fun to see these guys enjoy playing basketball because there's a lot of pressure on them and there's a lot of, I guess you'd just say, doubt that people have. And it's nice to see our guys enjoying playing a game.
And now, without JT, obviously, rebounding might have been something of a concern considering he was probably the best rebounder in the country and suddenly he's not there. And you got 6 players tonight with at least 4 rebounds, and you wind up plus 12. So could you just talk about how you're rebounding now? And I guess it has to be more of a team type of a deal.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I look at the numbers 6'6", 3'5", 3, 5, 4, 4. I mean, that's going to be us. I think we got guys that can rebound, but at the rate JT did, and we're going to have to replace that as a team. One guy I thought was awesome was Josiah Mosley. I thought his offensive rebounds were timely and big. He got one in the first half that was a putback, and then he got that one where they fouled him, and he was grabbing it at the same time and ended up getting possession. Like, those are great plays, and he can really help us in that way because he's a physical, bouncy, active player, and when he's right, he's got special talent.
And then Luke, 21 minutes, Mario, 16. Was that the distribution that you sort of envisioned coming in? And is that what you expect to see from here on out?
Well, I'll say, I mean, I didn't know what to expect, to be honest. I mean, with foul trouble and the way that K-State draws fouls, I was concerned about it. And that's where I think we do have some options now. And you could even play Josiah some if you need to around the rim. We actually have some depth there, and I did think that was a good minutes distribution. But I could see Luke playing a few more minutes depending on how this thing moves forward. We just need to get him in better shape where his endurance is better.
Grant, Coach Driscoll was very thankful and thoughtful about how you talked to him about the things that happened at K-State. And back to your days at Baylor, would you want to comment about what you guys talked about and how you helped him?
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Coach Driscoll's helped me more than I'll ever help him. And, Coach D is one of those guys that his energy is a 10, no matter what's going on around him. And his heart for people and helping people is a 10. And I called him, and I talked to him, and he's an inspiration for me because I can get in my own world. And like in the last couple of days, I've kind of bunkered down a little bit, and trying to figure out those people around me. And I do a bad job of touching a lot of people. And Coach D is one of those guys that'll send you a message when you're having daylight savings change. I mean, like, who thinks of that? I barely remember to tell our team. And he's sending me a message for that. It's just him. I mean, he's a remarkable teammate and got the most energy of anybody I've been around. Now, I didn't actually work with Coach D, but I feel like I did because I talked to him on text and through the most random scenarios, and he's been one of the biggest encouragements to me. Just like I'm telling you, after every win and loss, he'll send me a message and communicate in a way that's encouraging. And I can't even fathom how much he does for people if he does that for me, and we didn't work together. I just really respect him, and that's how I feel about that staff. Jareem Dowling and I were a part of winning championships. We won an NCAA tournament game and set the record for the best season in school's history at the time, regular season at Arkansas State, and then back-to-back-to-back years at North Texas. And Jareem Dowling was like in the trenches. Phil Byer was our strength coach, and he's on this staff. I mean, just a lot of people I really love over there, and those guys have helped me more than I'll ever help them.
What did you see from the defense today?
Well, let's start with Donovan's ability to guard the ball without fouling. And this is one of the first games that we've actually shot more free throws than our opponents, made more free throws than our opponents have shot. I mean, that's a huge step. That shows you our defense was physical but without fouling, and that was big. And it shows that we're on attack a little bit more on the offensive end. Like the floor spacing has actually allowed us to get more fouls drawn. And, I just loved the ability to rotate those forwards quicker so that we could keep our energy what it needed to be.
I know you're going to be kind of toying with rotation and sub patterns, but in the first half especially, you went with Mariel and Lawan together and Luke and Josiah together. Was that by design? Was that just kind of how the game went? What did you kind of see from those pairings together?
Man, I love this. You got good thoughts, man. I know you think about this at night more than I do. There's design, and then I'm one of those guys that likes to think through every scenario. I will say that. And I'm always asking our staff, like, what if this happens? And they're like, well, it hasn't. And I'm like, well, what if it does? And I'm like, who do we want to play? And I got to be honest, mine has more to do with the fight and the look in your eye when I look at you. If you're going to compete to help our team win, and if I see you're locked into how we're going to play, and I don't really know that because you never know. Somebody misses an easy shot and they look like they're not ready to go anymore. I'm not looking at a lineup sheet of like, this guy plays good with this guy. I'm like, you got to go, because I'm not going to let somebody not compete on this possession, because every possession matters. So the resiliency at which our guys approach this allows me to feel confident in who plays more than I feel like combinations. But I will tell you, I love thinking about it, and we've looked at every scenario of how we need to play these guys. And there's a lot of debate, I will tell you that. And it's not really clear in who plays best yet, because we don't have enough numbers. And if somebody says there's enough numbers to tell you there's not enough statistics to give you real backup for this. So we're going a little bit off of fight and will to win, and hopefully we'll see some things that we like through these few games to give us a better pattern of how to do it. But today was more about, let's keep energy high and let's see what the matchups are, and let's make sure that we feel good about who we're guarding as much as who we're going to play on offense. Where in the past we've kind of played who do we feel more on offense than the energy defensively. That was a shift in this approach.
You mentioned one of the kind of unintended benefits, I guess, is that the paint gets opened up a little bit more. Is there kind of a benefit of having there's not so much attention on JT where other guys they can get their due, I guess, and show what they're really fully capable of, especially guys like Josiah, who's still kind of coming along, Luke getting more minutes, stuff like that?
Yeah, what I will say about the way that we can play now is, you know this, like if you haven't touched the ball in a few possessions, it can make it difficult when you do get it to not feel in rhythm and flow. And I do feel like that the ability for a lot of guys to be involved gave us a little more continuity to the offensive end, which I told people all along, and I hate saying it this way, but I think we can be better at times with these lineups and the way we play. And it has to do with the energy and depth at which we can do this over the course of all these games. Because in this league, and when you get in postseason basketball, you've got to be able to play 2 games in a couple days, and you got to be able to play 3-4 games to win the Big 12, and you got to be, it's just there's a residual effect to this, and the more guys that we have involved and the simpler play. But I will tell you what gets complicated is when somebody touches the ball and tries to do something that doesn't fit what we're doing. That looks obvious, and that's where we got to keep refining who we are, and that's where having JT out there and his foul pressure, and we can be super efficient, but maybe we lose some energy and the ability to share the ball and get a lot of people involved where they don't feel like when they touch it, they got to make a big play. And this maybe will give everybody confidence to be great. And we can withstand maybe some of the more difficult stretches when we can just sub and keep energy high defensively. And that's where I think that this is all going to benefit our team.
Coach, during the game, Donovan hit his 93rd three-pointer of the season and thus setting a new school record for single-season three-point makes. Just you've bragged about him all season. What are kind of your first thoughts when you hear seeing his name stamped into the history books?
Was that Corey Carr? Yeah. No, I mean, it was cool. Corey came and was here last year when he was honored, and then to be able to coach Donovan. What I'll tell you about Donovan that I love is to set those records means that he's an unbelievable shooter. And everybody knew that when he got signed. You know what I mean? But his efficiency numbers are sick. I'm talking, they are sick. And what he's doing defensively is crazy, unbelievable. Like I told him today when I saw him, or yesterday, he's a little banged up, and I'm like, how you feeling? He's like, he looked at me like with, I don't even know how to explain it, just without even like, yeah, I mean, I feel great. I'm ready. Yeah, it was like, yeah, this is a table. This is a mic. Just as clear as he could be, he's got a different resolve to him. And I thought the way he started this game today, defensively and scoring, he was just like, no, he's not being Superman. He was just being the most competitive guy that you could be on the court. And it showed out in his ability to score and guard. And I love him. Love his heart. Love his consistency, and love his competitiveness.
And in JT's absence, what was kind of your assessment on how the pick and roll played out for this game?
Well, I think what it did was we moved it, and Jalen Petty was playing off some, and, we just had different actions, and it freed Chris up to be more of a receiver on some where he could drive it and play in space. And then we didn't set some. We just gave space, and we drove it and played in space, and I thought that Christian handled it unbelievable. And that's where you need a veteran point guard like Christian, where you only have to turn it over one time against a team that turned over Houston 15 times and turned over Baylor 19 times in the last two games. And we turned it over 17 times. So I was concerned about that. And today we turned it over 6 times. But I think, in the first half, we just had 3. So, it looked right in regards to the way we handled the basketball.
Coach, you talked about Christian Anderson there. You said in the press conference you did before leading up to this game that you needed him to be a leader and guide this team. And he obviously 21 points, 9 assists, 5 rebounds, and only with that 1 turnover. Got a lot of defensive pressure early in that game and found a way in the second half to overcome it and adjust. Just what can you say about his first performance without JT on the floor and just guiding the team?
Yeah, he's a little banged up. He's not 100%. So for him to fight the way he did and to lead our team, I think my favorite moment of the game was, y'all know that crazy sequence where, we tried to throw a lob to Jalen Petty and missed it, and then they threw it over the top, and then we shot a long 3 early in the possession. And, I'm pretty hard on him just in regards to, like, how do we win this game and what's our command and how do we communicate. And man, he came to that timeout and told Jalen, my bad. And Jalen's like, pass it over here. He's like, you're right, 100%. And he looked at me like, I got you, coach. When you own up to those moments and just be like, even if it's not really your fault or it kind of is, and I loved his command of taking on the accountability of it and all our team seeing it. That matters to me because that means that our guys see when I'm jumping on him, which, I'd like for him to shoot shots. I want him to feel confident he can make a 24-footer no matter when. But just that way, when I get on him and they see that and then he responds that way, I'm like, oh, we're going to win now. Like, not the way you guys watch, like, oh, he's so good in the pick and roll. I'm like, he came to that timeout and took ownership to those possessions. I'm like, now we're talking. So that's what I love about Christian Anderson, and those are the moments that he's stepping up and really being a leader for our team. Thank y'all.